Europe Day is held on the 9th of May every year to celebrate peace and unity in Europe. The date marks the anniversary of the historic Schuman Declaration that set out his idea for a new form of political cooperation in Europe, which would make war between Europe nations unthinkable and nearly impossible. But the question that begs for an answer is, has the EU lived up to its mandate, looking at what is happening between Russia and Ukraine? You're welcome to Diplomatic Affairs. My name is Harriet Nati. My guest is the head of the EU delegation to Ghana. I will be back right after this break for the conversation. Welcome back. The show is Diplomatic Affairs, and as I indicated earlier, my guest is the head of the EU delegation to Ghana, His Excellency Ichad Ramiandrasu Razali. It's good to have you again on Diplomatic Affairs. How have you been?
I was good all the time. Ghana is treating me so well.
Let's talk about the recent visit of the EU Commissioner for International Partnerships.
It was very important at this moment, and linked to your introduction, to reconfirm that even though all the priority and energy is kept by the issue linked to Ukraine and Russia invasion on Ukraine, it's important to recall and demonstrate that Africa is a key partner for Europe as a continent. And in Africa, Ghana stands out as a stable, trustworthy, democratic partner. And it was very important to make this point, even though there is no doubt that in terms of politics, in terms of diplomacy, symbol matters, messages matters, and it was very important that she reconfirmed that, and that she opened the new upcoming program between EU and Ghana.
Let's talk about the number of MOUs that were signed during her visit, with a focus on the multi-annual indicative program.
To keep it simple, the multi-indicative annual program is the broad, I would say, tool in which we will operate in terms of development cooperation between Europe and Ghana in the next 7 years. But the issue is not to create cooperation. The issue is to support shared priorities. Okay, so it's policy first. And we have agreed with Ghana government, stakeholders, academic, CSOs, most importantly, on those priorities on the years to come. So priority number one is, without surprise, supporting growth and create jobs. This is priority number one that we will be supporting. We will do that in stimulating growth, in creating conducive environment to create jobs, mostly in the agricultural sector, because this is a key area and a key sector where opportunities are really wide in the northern region, in the rest of the country. And this is a key support for the national program Planned Food for Jobs, for example. I will elaborate more, but this is priority number one. Priority number two, which is linked to the shared interest between Ghana and the European Union on sustainability, is to support what we call smart and sustainable cities. Why is that? Because there is, across the world, in Africa in particular, in Ghana as well, a very high rate of urbanization. And all the challenges that you are looking into, health, education, transportation, energy, are crowded in urban area. And this is the best way to create impact and to mitigate the effect of development and effect on already supporting some of those cities like Kumasi, for example, in terms of greener transportation system. And transportation, public transportation is an issue, and there is room for improvement. But what we want to do is more ambitious. We want to accompany cities like Kumasi, maybe Tema, Tamale, other cities in the northern region as well, to optimize their urban planning, to consolidate the skills and the training of the local officers from the municipalities, and to bring solutions in terms of access to energy, access to water, sanitation, because these are the issues that, if not well designed, can create major problems in terms of sustainability, in terms of acceleration of climate change, in terms of lack of waste management. The third priority that we will be supporting, there again a shared priority, is linked to what we call governance and security. Governance, of course, is very important to maintain the high level of commitment to democracy, to accountability. These are all programs. This will be ongoing as well. And security is a new issue of shared concern between Ghana and Europe due to the environment. We would like to make ourselves available to support preventing potential threat to stability coming from the Sahel, as well as, we should not forget that, to address the issue of maritime security. So, in a nutshell, these are the three pillars of our upcoming engagement, and as you've mentioned, it was very important that the commissioner in charge of international partnership, Madame Urpilainen, was here to formally launch that together with the Minister of Finance, Mr. Oforiatta.
That's very ambitious.
This is, you have to aim high. You have to aim high. It's very ambitious because the stakes are very high. The challenges are very high. You know, the effect of global warming is hitting everyone. And as I say, the consequences of climate change will hit the most vulnerable people in the most vulnerable countries. So we have a duty to work together. This is on the sustainability part. But when it comes as well to job creation, you know the profile of the country, the youth, which are dynamic, but which is rightly so expecting perspective, is to be addressed. We have to create together or to contribute to create opportunities, perspective, a future for European youth, for African youth, and we have, you know, we are doing that together with the Ghanaian government. So yes, it's ambitious, but these things have to be addressed.
And it is achievable. All right, when you talk about job creation, which excites me a lot, which areas specifically are we looking at in terms of job creation?
It's not limitative. The profile of the country obviously gives a lot of opportunities in agriculture.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
we want to do is to promote more sustainable practices, but more intensive output as well. So we can get both of them. We have demonstrated that in the European Union, for example, and we can do that. This is one area. We want to support as well agro-business, because localization in Ghana of added value is a key area where we can push for more economic growth and more specialization and more opportunities again. So we are doing that not only in pouring money, this is not the main issue, we are sharing experiences and we are training the youth of Ghana in the tertiary education as well as on TVET, you know, training on vocational education, technical
That's a very interesting area.
Because this is where you can improve the skills and this is where you can improve the direct input and output in a given sector. So agriculture is one sector, but engineering is another sector. Energy is another sector. This country has a lot to offer in terms of energy, hydro, oil, hydrogen, and we want to be part of the one supporting Ghana to improve, optimize, increase the efficiency of the system, for example. And there again, there are many jobs to create, many value chain to reinforce, and this is about, once again, reinforcing the industrial base of the country.
Which the joint program between the EU and Ghana has already started, because this started in 2021 and it is up to 2027.
Correct, but we are not working on a wait page. You know, we are not working out of scratch. As we speak, we have already in the former programs a 132 million euro program in terms of supporting agriculture, okay? And these will be the programs on which we will expand our footprint, maybe increase some efficiency, increase the impact. So we are not beginning from scratch, firstly. Secondly, those programs will be supported, and we want to do so by more investment by the private sector, European private sector, because this allocation, which is 203 million euro of grant, is not enough to address all those challenges. It's a significant amount of money, but the challenges are so huge that we cannot cover everything with that. But what we want to do together with the government is to create a more conducive business climate in order to increase, enhance, and accelerate investment in the industry, in the tertiary economy, in everything, you name it, in the fisheries transformation, in the cocoa transformation, for instance. And this will be the key leverage on which we will be able together to create job opportunities.
All right, now talking about job opportunities, you were in Kumasi recently, and according to you, you engaged a very nice young man who has come up with a recycling plant.
Speaking of youth in Ghana is speaking about brilliant minds, people with lots of energy, lots of idea, and lots of hopes as well. And in Kumasi, I've met with a couple of them. I've met with Edmund, who has created Premier Waste, which is a company which has built from scratch, which is recycling, firstly collecting plastic waste in the streets, in dumps, and then transform them into nuggets that are sold on the market to be recycled. Okay.
That is happening in Kumasi.
This is happening as we speak. And the reason why I'm so excited about this experience is because it demonstrates, it's a clear demonstration that you can create a business which makes a difference in terms of environment, which is profitable and creates jobs. He has created 20 jobs.
20 jobs?
Yes, out of nothing. He has created 20 jobs and he's expanding, and we will be supporting him all the way to expand and maybe replicate the model. And there is a dividend for the planet because you collect plastic waste and you are recycling them. So this is a demonstration that ecology is not playing against economy, because this is, I would say, for a long time common wisdom. You have to address one or the other. And this is a sheer demonstration that both can go hand in hand. Plus, you are creating jobs, creating opportunities for, in this case, women who were unemployed, who have now a daily work, and some of them, if you see the video, are testifying on how this changed their daily lives.
I love the idea of solving a problem, which is climate change, and we are talking about protecting the environment as well, and the world in which we live, and at the same time also creating jobs or employment, getting people to join his vision and give them a daily income, something to survive on. This is brilliant. And when you talk about support, is it going to be technical and financially combined?
It's both.
Both.
It's both. We have a project which is the name of the project is the Green Project.
Right.
20 million euro that we are funding, and part of the support is technical, part of the support is financial. One of the key challenge that Edmond is faced with is technical currently. He needs to acquire more efficient machinery. So we will look into that, but we have already supported him in terms of, storage of the plastic, storage of the transformed plastic, because this is the product he sells. So it has to follow certain requirements on technical basis. So we will look into the best way to pursue our engagement. But Edmond is only one. There are thousands of brilliant Ghanaians who have big ideas, who have demonstrated that they can make a difference. I've met this lady in Tamale. She is building bricks out of plastic.
Bricks out of plastic.
And she has designed herself, because she is an engineer, she has designed herself the machinery needed for the process. So the idea is to demonstrate that it is possible, and now the challenge is to scale it up and to introduce those practices into the mainstream economy. Why don't we build our houses with such bricks? For example, why don't we use those bricks, and she's not the only one to do that, in major development infrastructures, for example. So this is the way you plug, I would say, small entrepreneurs to larger economy, and you scale up their ideas, and you make them, as we aim to call, transformative. It has to be transformational. An idea can transform the world. This is the idea of Europe. You were speaking of Europe Day. So the 9th of May, the day after tomorrow, we will celebrate, as you said, the Schuman Declaration. This is not the formal creation of Europe. This was in the 1950, 5 years day to day after the end of the Second World War. It was an idea. The French Minister of Foreign Affairs, then Mr. Robert Schuman, said in his declaration, we have to create de facto solidarity between nations in order to avoid what we've been through. So it was not the creation of Europe as such, but it was the idea on which Europe will be created 7 years after. So back to the main conversation, an idea can change the world.
For better.
For better, of course.
Now, I'm just curious, how did you meet, is it Edmond in Kumasi?
Yes.
How did you meet Edmond? Because I believe there are thousands of Edmonds out there. Like you said, I believe there are thousands of young people who are doing something extraordinary that can create jobs, that can equally solve problems, and like you said, fantastic ideas, who probably are looking for such opportunities to be visible, for the EU to at least see what they are doing and see how they can provide the help that they need, to scale up whatever they are doing. How did you meet Edmond?
There are different ways, okay? But one which works very well is to organize competitions. Competitions for young entrepreneurs. So they bring their idea, they showcase their invention, because they invent things, and then they get some support out of that. So that could be one way to do it. Another way to do it is to create a program to support already existing entrepreneurs, but to reinforce their skills in order to manage their company. Because some of them have no or little knowledge on how to run a business. The one who are, there is another brilliant guy there, Samuel. is collecting electronic waste, and they transform electronic waste into portable batteries, which are powered by solar panel, okay, off-grid. But these batteries can service fridges, aircon, lights, TV sets, you name it. So Samuel is not trained in business management. So these are the things that we can provide for. Then again, the funding side, provided the idea has got some potential, we are very excited about the idea of supporting them scale up. But once again, down the line, it's the general, I would say, environment, the general economy that should provide that. What we are doing is we are providing a ladder for these brilliant people to climb and then to get opportunities.
This is very interesting, and which is why I wish we could stay here for a while and talk about some of these fantastic ideas, you know, that are aimed at least transforming our lives, you know, for the better. So now let's move away. I like the fact, I like it when we have practicalities to talk about when it comes to relations between the EU and Ghana, at least the ones that can reflect or the people can resonate with. That way they are able to follow and appreciate the partnership between these two parties, at least EU and Ghana. I do understand the need to do things at the government level, also when it is done in such a way that the people can feel the change. They appreciate the partnership even better, which is why I wish we could have stayed here, you know, a little bit longer. But I believe, is that a platform for anyone watching who thinks they are doing something genius can at least, you know, go to and put their works there by
all means, because it's about the idea, it's about the stamina as well, it's about the innovation behind the idea, and the fact that this can create, once again, a transformational effect on the economy, on the people, on the planet, on everything that matters together for EU and Ghana. And you will see, I've met a lot of people character. I'm a people's man, I would say. I like to interact with people. Yesterday, I went to Keta to meet...
the Volta region.
Yes, in the Volta region, to meet with fishermen community, to understand better the challenges, what they need. We are already supporting them in terms of reinforcing resilience through alternative livelihood, because what they catch is not enough to cover their needs anymore. And these are the encounters that can change, I would say, the way you were thinking about a specific sector from afar. You know, I don't have a specific fisherman background, but from these conversations, you learn so much about their daily lives, their daily struggles, the challenges, and some of the solutions that they are already implementing. Because this community in Wuti and in Keta, in the Volta region, are already implementing, with our support, regulations to fight illegal, unreported, undocumented fishing. And they are the first to tell us, since we are implementing this regulation, since the moment we have been fighting against irregular fishing, we can see that the catches are better. So this is, I think, a lesson we've learned.
Exactly, by going to the ground and engaging the people on the ground.
Exactly.
Anyone who is in the innovation space or industry wants to at least get connected to the EU to let them know what they are doing? They can go to the EU's
yes,
website,
by all means,
right?
please air our website address.
Okay, so you go to the EU's website and then you have all the information that you can get if you are doing something interesting when it comes to innovation. This is an opportunity for you to be seen and, of course, get the needed support. Now, away from that, let's talk about, certainly we don't get to hear much about COVID anymore, but it is worth mentioning that Ghana was among the first countries in the world to have received COVID-19 vaccines through the COVAX initiative. The EU, of course, made that possible. Where are we? Because I know there are talks in place for Africa, Ghana and Africa, to eventually begin to produce COVID-19 vaccines and other vaccines as well for the people.
We came a long way. We came a long way. Not only Ghana was one of the first, it was the first country worldwide to benefit from vaccines provided by COVAX initiative that we are funding. It's not that it's, I would say, to be proud of, because we were put beyond a common challenge, but at least this is a small achievement which makes a huge difference. And from getting vaccines, as I say, it's good to get vaccines, it's even better to produce them. And the EU, based on a request of Ghana, so it's Ghana who said this is a national priority for us, is now part of a handful of countries, Senegal, Rwanda, South Africa, and now Ghana, who will host in 2024 a vaccine facility which will produce vaccines against COVID, but I think this is the wiser part coming from the Ghanaian specialists and policy, which will provide vaccines for other recurring diseases, because beside COVID there are many diseases that we need to get vaccinated against, even the cattle. So the EU is currently supporting what is needed in order to create this vaccine facility. So in concrete terms, we are supporting the Food and Drug Authority, which is the key regulatory body which will set up a policy, will put the requirements, and we will put the milestones in order to create that. So this is getting real. So 2 years down the line, we moved from a situation where everybody was taken aback. This is the reality. We were all taken off guard. There was a rush for vaccines. The EU, contrary to what has been said, has not implemented vaccine nationalism. On the contrary, we were the very first to provide vaccine worldwide and in Africa as a priority. Okay? March 2020, first vaccines. Okay, so I think it's very important to state that, and now again, we are the first ones who are supporting establishment of vaccine facilities in Africa. Not only for Africans, it's not vaccines for Africans, but it's vaccines for the rest of the world. This is what it is about.
That's very interesting. Like you said, I do agree that it is good to receive vaccines, but it is even better to produce them. Let's go into the EU's educational policy. I do know about the Erasmus Mundus scholarship program that goes on between the EU and its partners. So let's focus on Ghana. Have you started receiving applications for the year 2022? Because I know people are very much interested in some of these opportunities.
Yes, applications are open since a few weeks now. And we wanted to get the testimony of some of the alumni. And they are able to communicate what they got out of the program.
Share the experiences.
And it's a very personal experience. This is what makes Erasmus a very special program. It's not only about acquiring skills, knowledge, a new degree, which is very important, but it's to acquire a new experience because you are there for 1 or 2 years in Europe, in some of the best universities worldwide, and you see other ways of living, other cultures, other type of food, other interaction, other way of the way cities are built, are run, so on and so forth. And not only the program equip you in terms of skills and knowledge, but it broadens and it opens sometimes the way you see the world. And then most of them came back to Ghana to make a difference, which is very important.
Okay, so we're still talking about Erasmus Mundus, and it's very interesting to learn that you have some students who have this experience with the outside world, and they go to the extent of, beginning to establish themselves there by getting married. Of course, culture-wise, it's very good. And of course, Erasmus babies. Let's talk about Erasmus babies.
Yes, we have an interesting figure. It's very difficult to check, but there are millions of newborn babies out of the Erasmus program. We call them Erasmus babies. No, it's just fun, but it demonstrates that Erasmus has a real effect on your life because it's your early years. This is a program for undergraduate, graduate, and postgraduate, but this is a less number of scholars. But basically, these are the years where you meet the people you want to build a life with, and the fact that all the countries in Europe are merged into this program. You have, Spanish students going to school in Romania, Romanian students in France, so on and so forth. You create the condition for people to meet, which were not there before. So this is just a small joke, but yes, out of that, millions of babies are born out of the Erasmus program. But more importantly, they acquired degrees, experience, knowledge, and cultural attachment to countries that sometimes they didn't know.
Yeah.
So I think this is very important back to the Ghanaian students who came back from Europe. That gives them a very fresh view and vivid view of what it is not. Sometimes some were disappointed, or most of the time they were very, very happy, but there are things you are bringing with you there and other things that you are bringing back. And for me, it's very important that Ghanaian students are bringing their culture with them in Europe, because these are very important to share, and they bring other cultures back to Ghana.
Right. Educational exchanges between Ghana and its development partners is vice versa. And let me also mention that it is not only Ghanaian students that we see who go abroad to go and study. We do have, some foreign students also coming in from other countries, from Europe, the Americas, Asia, also coming in to study, have some short courses in the country, and that also affords them the opportunity to learn about us as a people, our culture, and that builds trust and then credibility, and it stems from there to doing business. So it opens numerous doors, and so this is a fantastic initiative, and I must commend the EU for that policy. Now let's talk about Ukraine's aspiration to join the EU. We are still witnessing the aggression by Russia on Ukraine when they wanted to be part of NATO. And unfortunately, they've had to pay a serious price for that decision. Are we ever going to see Ukraine join the EU?
As a starter, we, like the rest of the international community, including Ghana, have condemned the aggression invasion by Russia on Ukraine the 24th of February. That being said, I think it's a misconception to make a link between this unprovoked invasion, uncalled for aggression by Russia on Ukraine, due to the fact that Ukraine expressed its willingness to join NATO. Any sovereign nation in Europe or elsewhere, because NATO is not limited to continental Europe, I would say, is welcome to voice its choice to join NATO, for example. Okay, but this is not a reason for these countries to be invaded. So I think this is very important to mark that element. In terms of request of adhesion to the European Union with Ukraine, this is another issue. Ukraine benefits already with what we call an association agreement, which is the highest level of cooperation, of trade facilitation, of links between Europe and a non-European country. And this creates already very solid bonds, which is not only about trade, but it's about common regulations in order to make the Ukrainian economy similar in terms of regulation to the European Union, in order to facilitate the trade and the exchanges between the two economies. So, as you said, Ukraine has voiced its request to join the EU, and now there is a process to be observed. We are not calling the shots. The head of states, the leaders of the European Union, will be the ones who will be taking the decision. But this is not white or black decision, because, well, once again, you don't have to be part of the European Union to enjoy access to the market, to enjoy access to trade scheme, and to be part of, I would say, the economic landscape of Europe. As we speak, Ukraine's largest trade and economic partner is not Russia anymore, is the EU. So these are indications of how close Ukraine is to the European Union.
But let's talk about the significance of EU Day. Right.
And we are celebrating this day as the official day of the European Union. Okay, we don't celebrate independence because this is, and this is not a national day because we are a bloc of member states. But this is our day because this is a celebration of the 9th of May 1950, during which the former French Minister of Foreign Affairs, Robert Schuman, voiced the idea and submitted the proposition to Germany to engage in the process of de facto solidarity. This is the very idea on which the European Union has been built eventually, because the European Union, or by that time the European Community, has been created in 1957 in Rome, Italy, by the 6 founding countries: Italy, France, Germany, Belgium, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, to create this economic bloc. And this economic bloc initially, because it has evolved into a much more integrated adventure, I would say, was the de facto solidarity that bound those countries who were fighting each other 5 years before in the most horrific episode of modern history, 50 million dead in the Second World War. 5 years down the line, they said, let's create a project that will make war, if not impossible, at least unthinkable between us. And this was based on steel and coal. Steel and coal in France and in Germany, which was usually meant to build weapons, because this is what you need to build: tanks, shells, so on and so forth. Say, let's have a joint program to manage it together and to use it for industry, not war industry. And then the idea went bigger. So once again, an idea which changed the landscape of a continent and to some extent of the world, because these ideas now are the ideas who are, prospering in Africa, for example. Integration of Africa is a way as well to overcome barriers in terms of trade, in terms of mindset, in terms of circulation. And I'm really happy to serve in Ghana in particular because you host the secretariat of the AFCFTA.
Yeah.
And AFCFTA is one solution in order to deepen the integration of the African continent. But there again, you have the Africa Union, which builds out of the 1963 declaration, so on and so forth. So this idea of putting people together in order to enforce solidarity, sense of common direction, sense of common belonging, are the very idea of those giants on the shoulder of whom we are merely sitting. So this is the reason why the European Union is celebrating this very important day. It's the day of an idea which transformed Europe and which bound together 450 million citizens.
Let me ask this question. Now, we have two countries in Europe who are not members of the European Union, which is Russia and Ukraine. One aspires to be a member of the EU, which is Ukraine. It's rather unfortunate that at this point we see them having a serious political tension or situation, and we are hoping that this would come to an end very soon, though there will be a dialogue, negotiations, and eventually peace would prevail. But let me also say that looking at the fact that this is happening in Europe, in the eastern parts of Europe, doesn't that undermine somehow the core values of the European Union, even though they are not members of the EU?
Once again, the idea of the European Union is to avoid the war between the members of the European Union. I'm not saying what happens outside is not of our business.
I was going to ask that question.
The idea is to avoid
the 27 member states.
The war between the 27 member states, which were during the centuries fighting against themselves. The coalition changed, but basically there were wars. You have heard about the 100-year war, 7-year war, and then more recently, First World War, Second World War. So this is not a cheap escape for that, but the very idea is to keep the continent and the members of the continent safe and bound together by this de facto solidarity. When it comes to Ukraine, the European Union is currently doing everything possible, firstly, to support Ukraine as a country to weather the war, because it's not about tension, it's not about, dissonance or whatever, it's about a war. They have been invaded, attacked, and killed by a foreign power, which is Russia. And as you say, the fact that they are all both part of larger geographical Europe makes it topical as well, because this challenges the values. But this is the reason why we are standing up to our values. We are supporting Ukraine, firstly. I will not detail everything that we are doing, but you can imagine there financial support. As you know, some of the member states are supporting them, providing them arms. There is a huge humanitarian support, you name it, on one side. On the other side, there are the sanctions against Russia. And we have adopted at least 5 sanction regimes against Russia to make it painful, to make the war and to make the invasion painful, because this is about force. We don't have an army as the European Union, so this is not a question, but we are using the tools that we have. And when it comes to defense and security, these are the member states who are leading on that. Okay. So once again, the values are challenged, but we are living up to our values. Leaving Ukraine alone, leaving Ukraine facing the situation, the invasion alone, will be a major, I would say, tarnishment on our values. This is not what's happening. We have mobilized together, including with Ghana, who is sitting in the UN Security Council, the international community, who responded almost unanimously to condemn the aggression and the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. This is very important because this is what values are about. And sometimes some of the countries said, but this is very far away. This is not our war.
Exactly.
This is, we don't want to be trapped. But geographically can be very far away. But this is about the world in which you want to live.
It's a global village.
Do you want to live in a world where suddenly your neighbor, if he feels like it, can invade you?
And attack you.
Is it the world you want to live in? Or you want to live in a world where, as the European Union is supporting, which is bound by a rule-based multilateral order. Disputes are part of life. Disputes are part of diplomacy. But there are frameworks in which you settle your disputes. So, even though it's far away, this affects all of us, and this affects the future we live in. Okay? We will be living in. So, this is the reason why we were adamant that it was important to react without any ambiguity, not only to condemn the fact, but to make the cost of the war very high for Russia and to demonstrate, of course, on a daily basis, solidarity with Ukraine. Discussion on Ukraine adhesion to EU will take its course, but the main priorities, as you mentioned, is to bring peace, or at least truce, ceasefire negotiations.
Now, let's talk about some of the activities lined up in commemoration of the EU Day.
I wanted to have a diversity of manifestation, demonstration, in order to illustrate the fact that the EU is not only a trade partner to Ghana, it's not only a development cooperation partner, it's a political partner, it's a security partner, it's a cultural partner, which is very important because what we want to do is to create bonds between the population, people of Ghana and people of Europe. So I've been to the Volta region in the district of Keta and Wuti to illustrate that the EU cares very much about sustainability and livelihood of fishermen, because sustainability of fish industry, the stock, is key for the Ghanaian population. So this is one area, for example. Cultural area, we will screen a European movie and it will be open for everyone to attend. It will be hopefully in the National Theatre. When it comes to cooperation, I will visit a plastic recycling facility, which is a large company already, to demonstrate that in terms of economy we can do differently, and the EU is there to support. So there will be many events. Of course, I've been participating and we have been supporting the Food Bazaar. A few weeks ago, Food Bazaar will be invited to to celebrate with us on the 9th of May, because this is part of the bound culture exchanges. So you will have a broad range of activities.
Interesting. Final words.
The friendship between Europe and Ghana dates to 1957. So it's been 65 years of friendship, cooperation, political links between Ghana and European Union, and I'm thrilled to celebrate that together with you, together with the rest of the Ghanaian population, and we'll do that together the day after tomorrow.
Well, thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your time. Thank you so much. It's been good. It's always nice to have you around and talk about the great partnership between our country and, of course, the European Union. Thank you very much for your time once again, and I look forward to a good celebration as we celebrate EU Day in Accra. It's a global celebration, so we thought it would be great for you to learn more about the EU and Ghana relations between these two, and of course learn more about the European Union Day, which is going to be happening. Is it on the Tuesday? On Tuesday, right?
No, it's Monday.
On
Monday
Monday.
the 9th.
So that's going to be
Don't
on
miss
Monday.
it.
I won't. That's going to happen on Monday, the 9th of May. And I will definitely be there. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your time.
Thank you, Harriet.
All right. So thank you also for watching this episode of Diplomatic Affairs. And I look forward to seeing you same time next week.